That crazy girl. That crazy girl. Hello, Mo. I was going to do this almost a year ago, but been sick and all that. That I didn't get to do it. So now I'm making up for it. We're going to be talking about Werewolves, Dogman, Ceberus, Hellhounds, Devil Dogs. Let's see who else will come in first. Hello, Terry. Yep, better late than never. Hi, Cynthia. How are you doing? Well, I was going to do this live yesterday, but other things pop up and delayed this an hour today so I could get everything all put together. Hi, Buddha. How are you doing? What we're going to cover is the we're about these different type of dogs, werewolves, dogman, and things like that, and how it's connected to the religion and politics and all that in past and the different type of literatures and all that. Wow. Okay. Let me see. There we go. Werewolves. The werewolf is a mythological animal and the subject of many stories throughout the world, and more than a few nightmares. Werewolves are, according to some legends, people who morph into vicious, powerful wolves. Others are mutant combinations of human and wolf, but all are bloodthirsty beasts who cannot control their lust for killing people and animals. Some of the early tales of werewolves legends originated with some scholars believe of the Epic of Gilgamesh, the oldest known Western prose. When Gilgamesh jilted a potential lover because he had turned her previous mate into a wolf. Werewolves made another early appearance in Greek mythology with the legend of Ly- Lycaon. According to the legend, Lycaon, the son of Pelasgus, angered the god Zeus when he served him a meal made from the remains of a sacrificed boy as punishment. The enraged Zeus turned Lycaon and his sons into wolves. Werewolves also emerged in early Nordic folklore. The saga of the Volsungs tells the story of a father and son who discovered wolf pelts that had the power to turn people into wolves for 10 days. The father-son duo donned the pelts, transformed into wolves, and went on a killing rampage in the forest. The rampage ended when the father attacked his son, causing a lethal wound. The son only survived because the kind raven gave the father a leaf with healing powers. um, the those werewolves back then are related to most of their early religions, like ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, and Nordic and European. They're usually tales tales of it usually tells tales of to scare people at times too. Also, other literature that we have a similar like werewolf type stories were were fairy tales. You know the Little Red Riding Hood, the Big Bad Wolf. That wolf is like walking and talking and all that. That act almost like human. And the other one is the wolf and three little pigs. I will huff and puff and blow our house in or down or whatever it is. The infamous werewolves, many so-called werewolves from centuries ago were in fact killers, and France had its fair share. In 5021, Frenchmen Pierre Bourgault and Michael or Marcel Verdun allegedly swore allegiances to the devil and claimed to have an ointment that turned them into wolves. After confessing to brutally murdering several children, they were both burned to death at the stake. Burning was thought to be one of the few ways to kill a werewolf. Giles Garnier, known as the Werewolf of Dole, was another 16th century Frenchman whose claim to fame was also an ointment with wolf morphing abilities. According to legend, as a wolf, he viciously killed children and ate them. He too was burnt to death at the stake for his monstrous crimes. Whether Bergault, Verdun, or Garnier were mentally ill, acted under the influence of hallucinogenic substance, or were simply cold-blooded killers is up to debate, but it likely didn't matter to superstitious Europeans during the 16th century. To them, such heinous crimes could be committed by horrific beasts as the werewolf. So how so you have actual stories of murderers, serial killers back in old Middle Ages that were killing kids. Hi, Rupert Howe. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh. There's also another one in Bedburg, Germany. A, a notorious werewolf of them all is the according to folklore. It's a farmer, a Peter Stube, a wealthy 15th century farmer. According to folklore, he turned into a wolf-like creature at night and devoured many citizens of Bedburg. Peter eventually blamed for the gruesome killings after being cornered by hunters who claimed they saw him shapeshift from wolf to human form. He experienced a grisly execution after confession under torture to savagely killing animals, men, women, and children, and eating their remains. He also declared he owned an enchanted belt that gave him the power to transform into a wolf at will. But at that time, his guilt was controversial because since some people believe he wasn't a killer but the victim of a political witch hunt or perhaps a werewolf hunt. Either way, the circumstances surrounding his life and death stoked rampant fears at the time of werewolves are on the loose. So the the I believe this Little Red Riding Hood was German story, and I think that that story was based on the Peter Stoops story. If it's true or not that he killed people, it's up in the air. Now we're going into the shapeshifter as werewolf or lycanthropy. Some people say the shapeshifter as werewolf is where werewolves shapeshifted due to curse. Others say transform the help of an enchanted sash or cloak made of wolf pelt, and other claim wolves claim people become werewolves after being scratched or bit by a werewolf. And there was a study in Australia in a hospital that 23% of the people went crazy that they were went crazy on a full moon that brought out their inner beast in them. The study found that of the 91 violent acute behavior incidents of the hospital between August 2008 and July 2009, 23% happened during the full moon. The patient attacked the staff and displayed wolf-like behaviors such as biting, spitting, and scratching. Although many were under the influence of drugs or alcohol at the time, it's unclear why they become intensely violent when the moon was full. The other the other shapeshifter type that a wolf-like character is the skinwalker. that have to do with magic and all that. Hi, Sick. How you doing? So, if the so you have the werewolves transforming by bite, curse, um, enchanted sash or cloak, or uh, salmon that went shaman that went bad, went evil that turned into a skinwalker. Could be considered werewolf. Our werewolves will. The, the werewolf phenomenon may have a medical explanation. Take Peter the Wild Boy, for instance, in 1725. He was found wandering naked on all fours through a German forest. Many thought he was a werewolf or at least raised by wolves. Peter ate with his hands and couldn't speak. He was eventually adopted by the courts of King George I and King George II and lived out his days as their pet in England. Research has shown Peter likely had Pitt-Hopkins syndrome, a condition discovered in 1978 that caused lack of speech, seizures, distinct facial features, difficulty breathing, and intellectual challenges. Other medical conditions that may have encouraged werewolf mania throughout history are lycanthropy, a rare physiological condition that causes people psychological condition that cause people to believe they're changing into a wolf or other animal. Food poisoning, hypertrichosis, a rare genetic disorder causing excessive hair growth, rabies, and hallucinations possibly caused by hallucinogenic herbs. Throughout the century, people have used werewolves and other mythic beasts to explain the unexplainable. In modern times, however, most believe werewolves are nothing more than pop culture horror icons made famous thanks to Hollywood's 1941 flick The Wolfman. Still, werewolves have a cult following. Werewolf sightings are reported each year, and werewolf legends will likely to continue to haunt the dreams of people throughout the world. So that's the deal about the werewolves, but okay. I'm also radio. I'm just saying, I wasn't saying that they were werewolves, monster radio. I said they were like the close, close because they report that they do sit safe. Skinwalkers, tricksters, genies, but I'm not saying they're close to werewolves in a big way. Now, They're the stories about the creatures are similar. Yeah, especially like the Dogman, because the descriptions are similar. Now, here's a New York an article out of the New York Post about an Australian man that saw a dogman like monster out in the Australian outback. He claimed he was stalked by that creature. The fisherman called John Bradley claimed he was left petrified for a month after encountering the supposed half dog, half human creature on two separate occasions. And that's how, yeah, that's that's what a lot of the articles that I reading the Dogman and the Werewolves are one of the same type because they have the same features and all that. Um, the guy think he was going to be killed. The thing was following the guy when he was paddling in his kayak, and he took a picture of this post dog man. I don't know. Do you see a dog man in that photo? The guy claimed he took a picture of it. I think right here, but when I enlarged it, it's just leaves. Is it ear or deer? I guess. Ah, there it is. That don't look like a animal. It looked like a tree bark or something, and it's more in the trees than anything else. I think that's more of a debunk than anything else. It's something that me and Matt talk about second star survival is that you could see things in the trees, but it's not there. So it could be tree bark or anything. It's could be like how the trees and bushes and leaves are set up to look uh, like figures, like a human face or a creature that you haven't seen before. Okay, let me see. Let me see. What is a dog man? Almost everyone has heard of Sasquatch. Not many people realize, though, a much more terrifying cryptid is stalking the forests of North America and beyond. Of course, I'm talking about the dog man. What is the dog man? Well, the Paleocene dogman describes a group of more than one type of cryptological beings that are large and sometimes described as looking like upright canine. One type of dogman I call a canine type is described as looking like an upright canine. Another type of dogman is commonly referred as being a type 3 is described as looking like Sasquatch with a muzzle instead of having a flat face. No one knows how long dogmen have been around due to hieroglyphs of the Egyptian god of the underworld Anubis, which have been found. It's possible that encounters with these beings were happening thousands of years ago. People might have been seeing dogmen back then, and due to their inability to figure out the origins of what they were looking at, they figured they were looking at an evil entity from the underworld. The first dogman encounter happened in 1887 in Rexford County, Michigan. Two lumberjacks reported seeing a creature they described as having a man's body but a dog's head. Dogman encounters most assuredly were happening well before that, though. What does the K-line or Dogman look like? K-line type Dogman is more like the werewolf looking type ones. Type 3 Dogman is almost like the Sasquatch like humanoid, but with a muzzle. Dogman sighted have been sighted in city limits of major metropolitan areas like Cincinnati, Dallas, Chicago, Columbus, Ohio, and several other large cities. More than one eyewitness has claimed to have encountered Dogman in Central Park in New York City. There's a Dogman. Hi, girly girl. Here's the reported sightings of. This is where all the Dogman sightings are being reported. A lot in North America and Canada and Alaska to South America. There's some in New Zealand, in Australia. There's a few in Southeast Asia and in India region. A lot in Europe countries, Greece, and all that. Some in Southern Africa. Most of the dogmen you don't see is here's what most of the dogmans are located in eastern United States and Canada, from Quebec City, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Ottawa, all the way down to Florida Panhandle, and then it got spread out with less sightings until you get to California area where lots of dogmans are being reported at. So most of the Greeks, like the Dogman and that we could think of ancient Egypt and Greek mythology were the first stories that came out about the werewolves and Dogman. Okay, word. Almost every eyewitnesses who encountered a dogman says they thought the dogman was going to kill them and eat them. To date, though, almost every encounter has resulted in the eyewitnesses walking away unharmed. Attacks seem to be very few and far between. Only less than 1% of the eyewitnesses who have shared their encounters with encounter said that they have been attacked by the dogman. Do dogmen come out only at night? Nope. Ah, dang it. My browser frozen. Come on. Dang it. Dogman's found all over the place. So sorry about that. I have high amethyst. Been having issues browser like it is the Dogman and Werewolves are similar in a way. Um, some of the Native American like the Navajo people, feared riches and loose clothing called my cob. So there's beliefs in Mexico called Nagal and Haiti are superstitious that werewolf spirits known locally as Sterug, red eyes, can possess the body of unrated persons. Here's a cute one to look at. Nine signs that you might be a werewolf. Number one, unibrow. Maybe not a clear indicator, but in conjunction with the rest of this list, it could be a system. It means an eyebrow from one non-stop from one eye to the other. Hairy palms. More hair if you have tufts of hair growing on your palms. Where hair doesn't grow, you might be a werewolf. Mismatched fingers. Is your index finger longer than your middle finger? Uh oh. Glowing eyes. Do your eyes glow in the dark when the light hits them, like a deer in headlights? Chances are you're a werewolf. 5. Abrasions on the arms and legs. Do you have unexplained abrasions and scrapes on your arms and legs from possible walking on all fours? Unquenchable thirst, dry tongue, and eyes. Are you always thirsty no matter how much you drink? Is your tongue dry or eyes even though you use eye drops? First see a doctor, but then start saying to yourself up at night. 7. Frequented graveyards at night. If you find yourself wandering graveyards at night, you might be a werewolf or a goth, one or the other, or both. 8. Craving for raw meat. Do you like your steak rare? Like really, really rare? Check for other systems mentioned above. 9. Howling. Do you drive a roommate crazy by howling at the night all night? Yep, you're a werewolf. Now we're looking at the werewolf. That werewolf picture there, it could also be something like a dog man too. Let's blow this up. There's drawings of dogmans. Dogman look like that too. A werewolf, also known as a lycanthrope wolfman, is a mythological or folkloric human with the ability to shapeshift into a wolf or a trophic hybrid wolf-like creature, either purposely or after being placed under a curse or affliction via bite or scratch from another werewolf. The transformation is often associated with the appearance of a full moon. Early sources for belief in lycanthropy are Pythonius and Gervasi of Tilbury. In addition to natural characteristics inherent to both wolves and humans, werewolves are often attributed strength and speed far beyond those of wolves or man. The werewolf is generally hailed as a European character, although its lore spread through the world in later times. Shapeshifters, similar to werewolves, are common in tales from all over the world. Phan- Phanoscandian werewolves are usually old women who possess poison-coated claws and have the ability to paralyze cattle and children with their gaze. Serbian Vogelkotex traditional had the habit of congregating annually in the winter months when they would strip off their roof skins and hang them from trees. They would then get a hold of another Vogelkotex skin and burn it, releasing from its curse the Vogelkotex form from whom the skin came. The Haitian Duke wounds typically try to trick mothers into giving away their children voluntarily by waking them at night and asking their permission to take their child, to which the disoriented mother may either reply yes or no. Now, Russian superstition because a werewolf can be recognized by bristles under the tongue. According to some Swedish accounts, the werewolf could be distinguished from a regular wolf by the fact that it could run on three legs, stretching the fourth one backwards to look like a tail. Transformation, curse, or power. Various methods of becoming werewolves have been reported, one of the simplest being the removal of clothing and put on a belt made of wolf skin or pelt, probably as a substitute for the substance of entire animal skin, which also is frequently described, or roofs and or sheep or a wolf in sheep's clothing is another word you could say. In Italy, France, and Germany, it was said that a man or woman could turn into a werewolf if he or she, on a certain Wednesday and Friday, slept outside on the summer night with the full moon shining directly on his face. Becoming a werewolf simply by being bitten or scratched by another werewolf as a form of contagion is common in modern horror fiction, but this kind of transmission is rare in legend, unlike the case in vampirism. In other cases, their transformation was supposedly accompanied by satanic allegiance for the most lucid ends, often for the sake of Satan or craving for human flesh. The wearers are certain sorcerers who have anointed their bodies with an ointment which they make by the instinct of the devil and put on a certain enchanted girdle. Does not only unto the view of others seem as rules, but to their own thinking have both the shape and nature of rules so long as they wear the said girdle, and they do dispose themselves as very rules in worrying and killing and most of humane creatures. So the skinwalkers is similar to the sorcerers and that gone bad. And the power of transforming others into wild beasts was attributed not only to malignant sorcerers but to Christian saints as well. Ominous Angeli Bonnet, I can't pronounce the Latin for it. All angels, good and bad, have the power of transmutation our bodies. Was victim of St. Thomas Aquarius. St. Patrick was said to have transformed the world's king Verrecticus into a wolf. Daedalus supposedly cursed an illustrious Irish family whose members were each doomed to be a wolf for 7 years. In other tales, divine agency is even more direct. While in Russia, again, men supposedly became werewolves and incurred the wrath of the devil. Remedies. Various methods have existed for removing the werewolf form. In antiquity, the ancient Greeks and Romans believed in the power of exhaustion incurred people with trophy. The victim would be subjected to long periods of physical activity in the hope of being purged of the malady. This practice stemmed from the fact that many alleged werewolves would be left feeling weak and debilitated after committing depredation. In medieval Europe, traditionally there are three methods one can use to cure victim werewolfism. Medicinally, medicinally usually vary the use of root spray, surgically or by exorcism. However, many of the cures advocated by medieval medical practitioners proved fatal to the patients. A sincere belief of aerobic origin, Arabic origin holds that a werewolf can be cured of its ailment by striking it 3 times on the forehead or scalp with a knife. Another belief from the same culture involves the piercing the werewolf's hands with nails. Sometimes less extreme methods were used. In German in lowland of Schleswig-Holstein, a werewolf could be cured if one were to simply address it 3 times by its Christian name, while one Danish belief holds that simply scalding a werewolf will cure it. Conversion to Christianity is also a common method of removing werewolfism in the medieval period. A devotion to Saint Hubert has also been cited as both cure for and protection from lycanthropes. Rolling dew is also said to cure their ailment. Werewolves are a frequent subject of modern fiction, of fantasy or horror genre, and games. The idea is that werewolves are only vulnerable to silver bullets or other silver weapons, or that they can cause others to become werewolves by biting or wounding them. mainly derived from 20th century works of fiction. The Moof Leader, The Werewolf of Paris by Guy Undor, Darker Than You Think, Three Hearts and Three Lions, Jagger, I Am a Werewolf Cub, a children's novel, The Howland, the horror novel written by Gary Brandier, was first published. Its sequel, The Howland 2, alternate name, The Howland 2: The Return, was released in 1970, along with the third and last sequel to Howland 3: Echoes. The Black Roof, A Walk in Roof Ruin, Cycle of the Werewolf, The Dark Cry of the Moon, The Roof's Hour, The Wild, The Werewolf of Fever Swamp, The Lunatic Cafe, Blood and Chocolate, The Fifth Elephant, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Winded Werewolves, Bitten, Full Moon, Sharp Teeth, Frostbitten, Skin Trade, Dust of the Dam, The Roof Gift, and The Roofs of Mercy Falls. And American and films and TV shows, An American Werewolf in London, The Howland. The Howland was based on the name of the novel. Ginger Snaps, Silver Bullet, Stephen King's Silver Bullet, Harry Potter and Prisoner of Azkaban, Teen Wolf, Zombies 2, Supernatural, and their Underworld franchise, and things like that. Video games, World of Warcraft, The Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Feral, and Werewolf the Apocalypse. That's how werewolves is. Most of it is mostly point of view of religions. The first now we're going to go to Hellhounds and all that. Now, the first Hellhound that ever been talked about, the most famous one of them all is Ceberus from the Greek mythology. Is a monster and pet under Hades that guards the gates of the underworld, the realm of Hades and the dead. Cerberus was one of the monsters born from the union of Exedna and Typhoon, both as monsters and Hades as their offspring. Cerberus' titles are his Hound of Hades, Great Hound of Hell, Satan's Guard Dog, Devourer of Sage, Vicious Keeper, Gatekeeper of the Underworld. Ceberus also have a related creature, Arthurus, I think. It's another hellhound that's not more no famous. It is certainly depicted as a vicious, gargantuan dog with three heads, although accounts may vary. Cerberus is the Latin translation, the Greek name Kerberos. He's said to have eyes which emit a smoldering fire, and his mane is covered in snakes. In addition, some legends say that should one stare into Cerberus' eyes, they would turn to stone, much like the Gorgon. Uh, Cerberus was born from the union between Typhoon and Echidna. His activity during his days in the mortal realm was unknown, but he likely avoided any confrontations with the gods during and after their battle against Typhoon. Among his brothers, the most famous are Hydra, Ceberus, and Arthurus. And that's picture of Ceberus. Let me see. Next is the more into details of the Hellhounds. Hellhounds are demons or evil spirits that takes the form of a dog. Throughout history and in numerous cultures, creatures known as hellhounds have appeared in mythology, legends, and folklore, sometimes as guardians of forbidden areas or as sinister drifters that spread death and misery wherever they tread. Although a similar hellhound is not a demon that takes the form of a wolf, this is more accurately known as a warg or warg depending on preferences, though the two terms are likely interchangeable as a dog is little more than a domesticated wolf. Hellhounds date back at least as far as ancient Greece with the legend of Cerberus, the three-headed guardian of the underworld who was feared by many. This fearsome beast appeared in one of Hercules' 12 tasks and remains a popular figure in fantasy fiction. In the British Isles, the ideal of ghostly black dogs, often in inhuman size, is an ancient one and almost always symbolizes death. These creatures are embodied in such legendary monsters as Black Shuck and served as the inspiration for the Hounds of the Baskerville. Or sometimes they're called devil dogs in Britain. Japan told the stories of the shape-shifting Katsuni. Although they were technically foxes, Koreans had an even more evil fox spirit known as the Kumihu, which was almost always destructive, chaotic, and evil. In modern fiction, the Doberman and other large breeds of dogs are nicknamed devil dogs after their portrayals as servants of the Antichrist. in the Omen, and Damien himself is suggested to have been born of a jackal. The devil himself is sometimes portrayed as a wild dog due to the aggressive and savage nature of these animals in the wild. It is also a common urban legend in parts of Australia that eagles carry off and devour human infants. The Hellhounds is a supernatural dog found in folklore. A wide variety of ominous and hill supernatural dogs occur in mythologies around the world, similar to the oft-seen dragon. Features that have been attributed to hellhounds include black fur, glowing red, or sometimes yellow eyes, super strength or speed, ghostly or phantom characteristics, foul odor, and sometimes even the ability to talk. Certain European legends say that if someone stares into a hellhound's eyes, three times or more, that person will certainly die. In cultures that associate the afterlife with fire, hellhounds may have fire-based abilities and powers. They are often assigned to guard the entrance to the world of the dead, such as graveyards and burial grounds, or undertake other duties related to the afterlife or the supernatural, such as hunting lost souls or guarding a supernatural treasure. In European legends, seeing a hellhound or hearing it howl may be an omen or even cause of death. It is also said that hellhounds are sent from hell to kill those whose contracts show their souls have expired. The only one who can see a hellhound is the one being haunted by it. While it is completely invisible to those it's not after. Some supernatural dogs, such as the Welsh Shore one, were actually believed to be warm-hearted and benign. However, encountering them was still considered to be a sign of imminent death. Examples from folklore: the most famous hellhounds is probably Ceberus. Hellhounds are also famous for appearing in Northern European mythology and folklore as part of the wild hunt. These hounds are given several different names in local folklore, but they display typical hellhound characteristics. The myth is common across Great Britain. Many names are given to the apparition: Monday, the Hall of the Isle of Man, Growly of Wales, and so on, Black Dog. The earliest mention of these myths are in both water maps to Ghost Quarry 1190 and the Welsh myth cycle of the four branches of the Mabinogi. In southern Mexico and Central American folklore, the Catiju is a big black dog that haunts travelers who walk late at night on water roads. The term is also common in American blues music, such as in Robert Jameson's Hellhound on My Trail. In Greek mythology, the hellhound belonged to Hades, the Greek god of death and underworld. Its name in Greek mythology is Ceberus. It has three heads, but it's still black and razor sharp teeth and super straight. It is used to guard gates of hell. List of hellhounds. Barkeys is the name often given to the north of England, especially in Yorkshire, the legendary monster black dog with huge teeth and claws, though in other cases the name can refer to a ghost or household elf, especially in Northumberland and Durham, called Land of Hilton. One is said to frequent the remote gorge named Troller's Grail. This there is also a story of Burkhurst entered the city of York occasionally while were according to legend and preys on lone travelers in the city's narrow slickaways. A famous Burkese was said to live near Darlington, who was said to take the form of a headless man. who advanced in flames. A headless lady, a white cat, a dog, rabbit, and black dog. And another was said to live in an uncanny looking dale between Darlington and Haunted near Thurshton. The bearer of death is a term used to describe a hellhounds. The hellhounds said to be black gas coals, ball of burning brimstone, and smell of brimstone. Brimstone. They tend to leave behind a burnt area wherever they go. Their eyes are deep bright and almost glowing red. They have razor sharp teeth, super strength and speed, and are commonly associated with graveyards and underworlds. Black Suck, or Old Suck, is the name given to the ghost black dog, which is said to roam the Norfolk, Texas, and Suffolk coastline. Black Shark is sometimes referred to as a doom dog. For a century, inhabitants of England have told tales of large black dog with male violet flaming eyes. Some variants of the legend is single eyed that are red or alternatively green. They are described as being like saucers. According to reports, the beast varies in size and stature from that of simple large dog to being the size of a horse. So that is bit of the. There are legends of black shark roaming the Andean countryside since before Vikings. His name may derive from the Old English word "shakku," meaning demon, and possibly from the local dialect word "sucky" means saggy or hairy. The legend may have been part of the inspiration for the Sherlock Holmes novel "The Hound of the Baskervilles." One of the notable reports of Black Shark appeared in Bungay and Blackburn in Suffolk. The Black Dog or the Devil in such a lineage God he doth who worth all, run all along down the body of the church with great swiftness and incredible haste, among the people in invisible form and shape, passed between two persons that they were kneeling upon their knees and occupied in prayer, as it seemed, while the next of them both at one instant cleansed backward in so much that even at a moment where they kneel they strangely died. Dip. In Catalan myth, Dip is an evil black-haired dog, a mercenary of the devil who sucks people's blood like other figures associated with demons. In Catalan myth, he is slave in one leg. Dip is pictured on the ascot of Prat Dip. A Welsh mythology and folklore, Strad, Avid, Hounds of Avid were the spectral hounds of Advent, the other word of Welsh myth. They were associated with the form of the wild hunt, presided over by Grid, Apnod, rather than Arwen, the king of Adwin. In the first branch of the Mabinogi, Christians came to dub these mythical creatures the hounds of hell or dogs of hell, and this they were therefore owned by Satan. However, the art of the medieval Welsh tradition is an outwardly paradise and not a hill of dead souls. Moni Toho is referred to is known to inhabit only one locale, Peel Castle on the Isle of Man. Growly or Grethwild or Twilight or Side Dog is a mythical dog for males that appears as frightful apparitions of a mastiff with bale, baleful breath and blazing red eyes. Death Hound. is also called a Yellhound. It's a black dog found in Devon folklore, according to Brew's Dictionary of Phrase and Fable. The Hound is a headless dog said to be the spirit of an unbaptized child which rambles through the woods at night, making wailing noises. The Hound is also mentioned in the Denham tracts. Church Grim, Kirk Grim, Krakow Grim, or Kirko Anvaka is a figure from English Scandinavian folklore. They are said to be the attendant spirits of churches, overseeing the welfare of their particular church. English church grims are said to enjoy loudly ringing the bells. They may appear as black dogs or as small, misshapen, dark-skinned people. The Church Grim by Eden Philpotts is a short story published in 1914. And also, Church Grim also appeared in The Harry Potter and the Prisoners of Azkaban. Gatas, the titular character in Charlotte Bronte's 1947 novel Jane Eyre, is reminded of a Guy Traps when she first sees Mr. Rochester's black horse, Monsieur, and his black and white dog Pilot. The Guy Traps, a legendary black dog known in northern England, was said to haunt lonely roads, awaiting travelers, appearing in the shape of horses, mules, or dogs. Guy Traps hunt solitary race and lead people astray. They are usually feared, but they can also be benevolent, guiding lost travelers to the right road. Martinez dog demon, a rare example of modern age hellhound and a striking example of supernatural photography, the details of which can be seen in another article. So, fiction hellhounds are a common monstrous creature in fantasy fiction and horror fiction through, though they sometimes appear in other genres such as detective novels or other uses. And they're how and the last one that drawn of a hellhound, it looks like a Cooper Supercobra a bit. Supercobra is usually a hellhound or maybe not. Hellhound is usually a dark dog is a supernatural demonic dog found in folklore. A wide variety of ominous or hell supernatural dogs occur in mythology around the world, similar to the dragon. So, powers and abilities, they have superhuman strength, superhuman durability, hellfire breathing, fangs and claws, probability manipulation, fear inducement, affliction, precognition, intangibility, superhuman intelligence, teleportation, and resistance to holy. Weaknesses: iron, silver, religious icons, salt, magic, exorcism, faith, and prayers. That's what they're. And the last one is the devil dogs. These monstrous black dogs with glowing red eyes have spooked and intrigued people for centuries. Moments after the searchers fried, a massive black dog burst through the doors, careened through the aisles. Two men knelt in prayer. The monster shot past them. As he did, he wrung the necks of them both, and they fell over dead where they prayed. As quickly as he appeared, the dog vanished, leaving nothing but scorch marks on the floor and two corpses in his wake. And it goes over, and they're going over all the same things that I already talked about. Because they added some pictures. There's an area view of Leiston Abbey showing a crop market and field adjacent to the ruin. A dog skeleton on Earth in Suffolk, England, that some speculated belonged to the devil dog. Hey, Fiend, thank you. And as it is to like the from the Ceberus to the werewolves and to the devil dogs, they're all related to religious belief one way or another. And some of the ancient stories in that about hellhounds in that they're being spotted here in North America, like devil dogs, the dogman, the werewolves, hellhounds, supercobras, you name it. And and to and then we kind of exploit it today with comedy movies like Teen Wolf or the Twilight movies. How we kind of neuter the old myths and beliefs to make the werewolves and that as as domesticated animals, but they're not that. So that's why the how all these um, creatures are perceived as evil. Werewolves, the devil dogs, the dogman, the hellhounds. They're all related to in a way religiously and all that. If it's from the ancient Egypt and Greek mythology to the Norse mythology, all the way to today, Christian society, religious, we view each things differently. So so that's just why it's kind of, you know, with the for what you could see through the how devil dogs and with the werewolf fiction stories today, how kill the werewolves with a silver bullet or with something silver. It took on the folklore of from the devil dogs. Could everything werewolves be part of the devil dogs or hellhounds? That's a question because they're all kind of related somehow because transformation into werewolves worshiping or make a deal with the devil or something like that, or doing magic with evil. And doing magic, black magic, things like that could lead to beliefs in this. What, like I always go, I'm go into much more details later on different aspects of the devil dogs, hellhounds, Ceberus, werewolves, and all that. In a much more detailed video than a live stream. This is just a presentation of what's just going to be done. Anybody have a question about werewolves and all that? And if nobody else have a question or anything, you're welcome on the panel, and we could chat for another 30 minutes. If not, I'll probably end it. Okay, if nobody wants to come up or last question, I would probably say good night, everybody. Stay positive. Have positive vibes, peace, love, help each other, and have a happy Father's Day to all new fathers out there. So good night and take care. Thank you.